A podcast. I am joined with my co-host Cody.
Hello.
Alright, Cody, in this we're going to talk about how we first came to be. Do you remember?
Not a whole lot because of how long it's been.
Well, it all started back when we were in school. Do you remember what grade?
Middle school?
It was middle school.
It was like 6th or 7th grade. It was one of those two.
It was 6th grade. Our very first class together was English, or language arts. But I don't remember half the stuff in middle school, do you?
I don't think anybody does.
So, why don't we... Well, that's fine. Why don't we go over and talk about your middle school experience? How was middle school for you? Great answer, great answer.
What?
I said, how was middle school for you?
It was kind of trash, honestly.
Well, why don't we talk about it?
First came here, 3rd grade. Incredibly racist people, by the way. Oh,
I said middle school,
people.
not elementary school. Your elementary school experience.
So... Okay, which one? Middle school, right? Middle school?
Yep, middle school.
Alright, so middle school, 6th grade year. I can tell you what my first experience was though. I was going up the ramp in middle school, I tripped and I fell down, so I was pretty fucking embarrassed right off the bat. First day of middle school.
No, that's great. Okay.
Yeah. Miss Townsend was looking at me like I was stupid, so it was kind of really embarrassing. So, mainly middle school for me was just a lot of bullshit. I just stick to...
Well, what kind of classes did you take?
Time.
Well, what kind of class? Well, hold on. Give it a second, since we're going to be loading in, so we won't be able to hear each other. Oh.
Yeah.
Well. Solo commentary for right now. Gotta give it 1 second. Gotta wait for him to spawn in as well. There he is. Alrighty. Anyway, back to where we were. What kind of classes did you take in middle school to segue you into high school?
Classes? I took a lot of just the normal English, science, history, math.
Kill, evade, survive.
Or was there any special kind of class that you took and throughout any of those?
I did art.
Yeah.
That was bad.
You're in the lead. Keep
Yeah.
it up.
I thought it was pretty good in art.
Yeah. I think you're a pretty good artist.
Plate
Oh god,
of
those
ribs.
clips. Alright. Alright, well. Let's go on to high school then. How was your high school experience?
Racism. That's all
God
I
damn
want to
it.
say.
Well, what were some of the fun things back in school?
One of the fun things?
Yeah, let's go over some of those.
Show choir, Cards Against Humanity at the lunch tables.
Huh? Well, what was
Watching
high
Reagan
what
Johnson
was?
get tased.
Well, why don't we talk about show choir? How was show choir for you?
Honestly, it's probably one of the best experiences I've had in my life.
Yeah. Even though we're only what 19.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't we talk about show choir? Let's talk about freshman year show choir for you.
Freshman year show choir?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I got a story to tell you. So this is during the classic.
Mm-hmm.
We were about to perform,
Well, how about this real
and
quick? Let's explain what show choir is for people that don't know.
I guess. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory.
Not really,
It's a choir.
because some people don't know, man. So it's
Uh,
choir. If you don't know what a choir is, use Google.
Seriously though, use Google.
Anyway,
Because
what show choir is just people putting on more of a theatrical unit of song and dance being choreographed and then competing against each other in that division. And they're unique divisions. If you really don't know what it is, you can also Google it. So anyway, so what our show choir classic is the show choir competition that our school hosts, and that's what we called ours, was the show choir classic. And Cody, let's continue back with your story.
okay, so we were about to perform in the classic, and I thought I would try to make friends. So you and I were sitting in line behind backstage, and I saw Cade and what's his face, the guy that sang Final Countdown.
Nathan.
The opening. Yeah, Nathan. I walked up to him, and I didn't know what the fuck to say, so I looked at him, and I was like, "Hey, I'm in show choir." And he just looked at me with a dead face. He's like, "Yeah, I can see that." And I looked at him, and I said, "I'm sorry." And I turned around, and I ran off. I was so embarrassed. And I could hear him in the background. He's like, "Is that kid on drugs or something?" And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Okay. Well, anyway, let's talk about your sophomore year of show choir.
Sophomore year? That was probably the best year of choir.
Yeah, why do you say that?
Because I actually got into finals. So
Yeah?
finals, for people that don't know, is actually just basically you perform once to see where you place and if you're eligible to go into finals, and then if you're not, I wouldn't say good enough, but if you score high enough, you can perform a second time to get grand champion or place in any of those places, I guess. But
So pretty much you win the entire competition. Yep, we did.
yeah. I tripped Sam on accident though. That was embarrassing. He was trying to run past me. I stuck my foot out, and he was like, "Oh, gotta fall." So he fell over, rolled, and then got back up like a champ. I was so proud of him.
Well, is there anything else you really want to go into depth about middle school or high school?
Middle school, faggot. No, I'm just kidding. Well, middle school. Oh, the memories. Oh, that thing just digs into your leg. That's disgusting.
It does.
Let's see here. Middle school. Oh,
If you can't
okay.
think of one, that's
So-
it's fine. We can always transfer over to me. So go ahead and go on with your story, though.
It's another Miss Townsend story.
Okay.
And I have another one about high school. So I was talking to Dalton, one of our older friends.
Yep.
I guess not a friend anymore, but
one of our older friends. Yeah, I remember him.
yeah, he asked me if he could spend the night that night. I said it would be fine. It shouldn't be an issue. Yeah, Miss Townsend walked up to us and she said that us boys better not be planning anything nasty. And I said there shouldn't. You know, there's nothing nasty about two boys going over to a house and staying the night. And then I thought about it, so I decided to make it weird for the both of us, and I continued with sleeping in the same bed, talking about girls, doing all this other stuff. And then this guy was like, "There's something seriously wrong with you." And I looked at her. I said, "You're the teacher here. Aren't you supposed to teach us something about life?" And she goes, "I'm trying." And I said, "Obviously not hard enough." So I think I hurt her feelings.
Oof.
But other than that, it's whatever. So, what about your middle school?
Ooh, my middle school and high school career. So, we can start out with middle school.
Oh, big
I
man.
remember that. Yeah, my middle school career. How middle school was for me was kind of awkward. My 6th grade year, I definitely had my fair share of drama. Not really. I remember I got bullied. That wasn't definitely not fun. Yep, Corrigan. One of our old classmates. She would bully me. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but
Don't cry on me, Nick. It's okay.
It definitely wasn't fun. I also did band that year. Oh, shit. I did band that year, and I had to stop because I got a bad grade in it because we had practice logs that we had to keep up with that everyone hated. So I couldn't do band anymore because I had too low of a grade in it, and my parents didn't want to keep paying for my instrument, which I totally understand that. So that was that. I wasn't really sad to leave it. And then I was just going through. I have no idea how to segue this. Anyway, I met you in 6th grade, which was really nice. I met you in 6th grade.
That just sounds gay.
Which we had English together. We had another friend, Aaron. We did a project together about the Greek god. I think it was Athena.
Oh, it was Athena, yeah.
Yep. And I think that's how we really started to become friends. So, in between 6th and 7th grade, we had a break for summer. And I really enjoyed singing. And I remember singing Minecraft songs because those were to come out. I remember singing both the ones by Captain Sparkles and the one by Tobuscus that I really enjoyed. And then I was just singing in the car, and my mom's like, "Wow, you're singing really nice. Why don't you do choir?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know." And she's like, "Well, you know, your brother did choir." And I'm like, "Which one?" She was like, "Austin." And I'm like, "Yeah, he did." So I'm like, screw it, why not? I joined concert choir my 7th grade year. Did it with my friend Joe. Do you remember Joe Goodbody?
Yeah, I remember Joe.
Yep. He was my best friend before you, which I really enjoyed, but I won't go into details. So, me and him did it. We really enjoyed it. 7th grade year, I also did football, which football, I did it for 1 year. I enjoyed it until I got an injury and then it hurt my shoulder, and then I never touched it again. So that was that. And then did normal choir, concert choir my 7th grade year. Really enjoyed it, and then we had a new teacher, and I was doing concert choir again my 8th grade year. But the new teacher was like, "Man, you're doing really well. Why don't you do show choir?" And I'm like, "Well, what kind of show choir?" She was like, "Well, it's just concert choir, but you know, it's a little bit more advanced since you need to do a little bit of dancing. You need to try out for it." So I was like, "Alright." So I tried out for it. Normally the kids had to do both a song and dance routine. Since I was joined a little bit later in the year, I didn't have to do a dance. I just did a song that she helped me prepare. And so I got in. After doing show choir my 8th grade year. I really enjoyed it, and I really wanted to do it my 9th grade year with the choir teacher, Mr. Morton, which, really nervous. So high school show choir was a little bit different because there was 3 choirs you could join. You could join, if you were a woman, you could be in the all-girls choir, or you can be in the mixed varsity choir, which was the junior varsity, which only freshmen and sophomores got into. And then, or if you were a man, you could be in the junior varsity choir, or you could be in the varsity choir, depending on your skill level. Whenever I did it, I got put into the varsity choir, which really surprised me. I'm like, wow, this is really weird. I wasn't expecting it. So,
Oh, wait, yeah. Because remember, you also dared me to do it?
Yep, I dared you to do it. That way you could, experience it as well. And, that took off my show choir life. So with show choir, I gained new friends. Thomas, which, love that man, but
Jesus, he can be creepy.
yeah, he can be creepy. I met another one of our friends. His name is Garrett. He introduced me into the world of Yu-Gi-Oh, which I'll get into here a bit later. Which my freshman year, I was not into Yu-Gi-Oh. So show choir my freshman year, it was a little bit crazy because it was really difficult because it was really intense dancing and it was really intense music that I was not used to. I'm glad I had Thomas and Garrett because they really showed me like what it takes to be in a varsity choir. And then our show was Willy Wonka, but it was like a really dark twist on Willy Wonka. If you really want to look at it, it's under a YouTube channel named McCade Gordon. You can see it there. And later my freshman year, I was getting into Yu-Gi-Oh because all my friends were into it. You were into it way before I was.
I loved Yu-Gi-Oh.
You did. And do you want to take over the ropes for your freshman year of show choir?
I got a lot of interesting stories about my freshman year, honestly.
I don't really have any stories, but go ahead and shoot for it about your freshman year. So with my freshman year, I got into the varsity choir, whereas your freshman year, you were in the junior varsity choir.
I was in the junior varsity.
Yeah. So how was the junior varsity choir?
Well, everybody hated each other.
Yep.
I'm gonna start off with that one.
Yep. I feel that. That's how
basic
my choir was as well.
hormones just clashing all over the place, bro. Really, it was more a competition of who could be the best at the time. But we started to get along, and then Danny transferred to the school and the choir. And then she just started to ruin everything because she was like, I can hear myself over everybody and I'm not going to try to help. And it was just bad. But I was a tenor.
Yep, I was also a tenor.
I think really the most...
Yeah, that's right, because Danny caused a lot of problems with my choir as well, even though she was only in the junior varsity.
Yeah,
anyway, keep going.
Very
We'll
upsetting.
talk about that story here in a bit.
I did have a crush on her for a little bit, just because she had big boobies, but that was about it.
Oh man, I don't even want to. Oh, I didn't even talk about my relationship my 8th grade year, but anyway, keep going.
Yeah, so our show was about Chicago.
Yep, I remember that.
And fun fact, we actually went to Chicago later that year.
We did.
And Fusion failed doing a Chicago show in Chicago, which is awful.
Yeah.
In all honesty, because how many people can you tell that you went to the place the show was even about and failed? Like, seriously.
Yeah, because I think it didn't you. I remember one of the bigger problems with Danny was between Thomas and Garrett, actually, because Thomas and Garrett were friends way before that, and I'm sure I can have Garrett come on to the podcast here one of these days, and he can talk about his show choir life. So we can do that here in a bit. So one of the dramas that happened between him and Thomas was that Garrett had asked Danny out to the prom. And she said yes, but she also said it as a joke, and Garrett didn't know that. And then I remember at one competitions that Thomas then asked her out. For anyone knowing, Thomas is homosexual, so that's why he can be a little bit creepy at times, because he's just joking around. So Thomas asked Danny out to the prom, not knowing that Garrett did it, and she said yes to Thomas because she knew that Thomas was gay, and that they were really good friends since she just moved there. So, Thomas then told Garrett, huh?
Garrett asked Danny to prom, and Danny didn't think Garrett was gonna go with them.
Oh.
So she asked Thomas to prom.
Oh.
Why do you
Thank
think
you.
it was so fucked up?
I didn't know that. Well, thank you for telling me. Well, I got my sex wrong. Anyway, I apparently lied because Garrett had asked Danny to the prom. Danny didn't think that Garrett was going to go with her, so Danny asked Thomas to the prom. So this caused drama between Garrett and Thomas.
And then they eventually said,
Yep. And then, since they were tired of her causing drama, they both said, fuck it, and neither of them went with Danny to the prom and just left her.
Atta boys, salute.
Anyway, that was my girlfriend that just informed me of the facts, and I thank her for that, because I had no idea. Anyway,
So
back to you with your show choir.
continuing, so, in my show choir experience, while we were in Chicago, me, Thomas, Brett, and Scott shared a room in a hotel in Springfield. I think it was Springfield.
I remember, because I had an even bigger room than you did, and it was just me and another classmate of mine. And it was just us two. We had a huge room. Anyway, keep going.
And so we were trying to teach Brett how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And he got annoyed because he kept losing. And I was just knocking his ass out, knocking him down, getting him out of here, you know, doing all that good stuff you do in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Well, yeah.
Right? And he just stands up, whips around, pulls down his pants, and then just shows us his asshole. And it was just an awful experience. It's basically one of those things where, you know, you don't trust friends. Just don't trust them. They're assholes. Or people you think are friends, they're assholes. So, we left later that morning, and I got on the bus, and I sat next to my girlfriend at the time. And I had to pee really badly. And we were only halfway to the point of where we needed to be. And I shoved my hands in between my legs, and I was like, dude, I can't hold this anymore. And she just looked at me, she goes,
Pee in her mouth.
Pee in that seat. Oh, God.
Anyway, keep going.
She looked at me and she goes, "You better not pee in that seat." And I said, "You shut your mouth. You better be careful." And she goes, "Why? Because I end up peeing in your lap."
Anyway,
And she's like, "What does that have to do with anything?" So yeah, it was annoying. We finally got to Chicago. We walked around, went to Dunkin' Donuts, went to the Giant Bean.
yep, I remember. I didn't go to the Giant Bean because I didn't wake up for that one.
I did. Thomas and I were just chilling the entire time.
Yeah.
After we had gotten there... No, okay, so we performed, did horribly, left, but my mom was like, "No, I want you to see the rest of Chicago."
Yep,
So
I
later
remember
that
this.
night, we woke up, and I got into the car. And my mom, okay, so in Chicago, I don't remember the street name, but there is a place where the tunnel, there's like a tunnel, like a four-way tunnel, and in that tunnel, there's a fucking stoplight where directly right where you can't see it, going into it. So my mom, thinking that it was a green light, goes, and it was red light, and this big ass Ford SUV just hits this tiny Dodge and completely destroys it. And I just remember my face hitting the dashboard, me crying, saying I want to go home and I want my mom to, even though my mom was right next to me the entire time. After that happened, I witnessed a drug deal.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Garrett also witnessed a drug deal in Chicago.
Chicago's a shady place, man.
He really is. So, my Chicago experience before this, I'm going to talk about how in 8th grade I went into it with a relationship with a girl, and then came into high school with just finishing that relationship. So I had a relationship over the summer, and it was a girl that you had already dated, which her name was... For namesake, I'm not going to say what her name is. We'll come up with a fake name. We'll call her...
Tiny Present.
We're not going to call her that. We're going to call her Taffeta. Why not? So, yeah, we'll call it Taffeta. Anyway, so I dated her over the summer. She broke up, well, yeah, I'll say. She broke up with me over, I think because I wasn't spending enough time with her, and to be fair, I was a kid that was just going into high school, so I didn't really know what a relationship was. So, I mean, oh well. And then, went into high school. On our way to Chicago, though, I didn't have any snacks because I had really no friends, and I didn't think about bringing snacks, but Garrett let me have some of his snacks, and on that trip, I met his sister, Kelsey, which I did not know her name at the time. So I just kind of said, "Hi," and she was like, "Hi," and I'm like, "Can I get some of your brother's snacks?" She was like, "Sure." You had a Claymore there. So that was my first interaction with her. Chicago was kind of boring, didn't really care for it. Cool experience, but I didn't really care for it. Let's go ahead and skip sophomore year, since sophomore year wasn't really that important, because if I fast forward through my sophomore year, I was in robotics, went to state, failed at that, and did show choir, got grand champion at a lot of show choirs, had my favorite year, which was space, and that's about it. How was your sophomore experience, fast forwarded?
My sophomore experience? It was okay.
It's like a fast forwarded version.
I'm just gonna skip it because there wasn't really anything interesting that happened. Other than the fact that I ended up dating the same girl again.
Yeah, whatever her name was, I forgot.
Yeah, me too.
We'll call her Shaniqua instead. Shaniqua. Anyway, you also dated Shaniqua.
Yep.
There is something I forgot in my sophomore year. I was in a play as well, and I met our friend Don that I introduced you to. He also dated the same girl, Shaniqua, which is really funny. Anyway, let's fast forward back to junior year. You had just dated Shaniqua again. I remember that. No, I'm getting my facts wrong. Start of junior year, I got back into a relationship with Shaniqua because we wanted to try. Well, she wanted to try again. We had flirted, and then I was pretty much halfway through the relationship. I'm like, I'm pretty much done. I don't really need a girlfriend right now since I had other stuff I wanted to do. In show choir, I had a bigger responsibility since I was the dance captain that year, and I really kind of just was like, hey, I'm pretty much done. Don't want to talk to you really anymore. So we broke up after that, and then I remember she went right back after you as well.
Yeah, and I full-heartedly said yes.
And then, let's see. We can skip towards, how was the end of your junior year? Because this was our first prom at the end of this as well. Which I'll go into depth about my prom here in a bit. So, how was your junior year?
Let's see. I almost died.
Yep, I remember that.
Twice.
Several times.
Yeah, let's see. I gotta think of... Okay, so junior year, parents have started to kind of do whatever they wanted, so I figured I'll do whatever I want. That's kind of what I did. And then I was like, fuck it, we're going to Joplin for the show choir competition. So I'm gonna eat a bunch of snacks. So I ate snacks previously that night. I don't know why I'm talking about snacks, but it's whatever. But we got on the bus, and I had to shit really badly. And I started getting like really bad stomach cramps. Walking down the stairs of that bus was the hardest thing I had to do that day, that entire day. Even almost dying wasn't that hard. Like, seriously. Me almost crapping my pants walking down those bus stairs was the hardest thing ever. And so we performed in sounds.
Mm-hmm.
We had just gotten done, and I started to get undressed, and my legs started to lock, and I couldn't stand up. And I was like, oh boy, I don't think this is right. I don't think this is how legs are supposed to work. And my hands started stiffening up. And I started shaking real bad. And Noah looked at me and he goes, dude, you need to calm down. I get we got it, but you don't need to get that excited over it. And I was like, I can't help it. Because I thought that's what it was, just excitement. And then I just flopped to the ground and I start shaking, breathing real heavy, everything starts to go black. Noah, somebody carried me out of the back of the room. And Shaniqua, at the time, was just all over me when I'm trying to breathe, and she was squeezing me to death. And I was like, bitch, get the hell off me. I'm trying to breathe. I'm dying, literally.
No, you weren't with Shaniqua at that time. You were with the other girl.
I was with Shaniqua at the drop-in competition.
I swear you were with the other one.
Nope, that was near the ending of junior year.
Yeah. I also remember the time during junior year when we all switched identities with our friend Sam, and how I became you became him, and Sam became me. Which
and we confused the hell out of that one girl.
Yep, and then I remember, since at that point in time I was dating Shaniqua, she hated it, and your girlfriend at the time absolutely enjoyed it because it was really funny. And I love how,
Abby.
yep, I love how she played along, which was the best part of that. And we did really confuse the freshman at the time. Anyway, how was prom for you? Since it was our junior year.
Ass.
Didn't you go with Sarah, or was
so
that James?
bad.
Who did you go with?
I went with James and Matt.
That's right.
I went with their alone friend that I knew nothing about, and it just had gotten dumped on me basically. So I had responsibility over this girl. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I had no, like, I didn't know anything about. I didn't even have a corset for her. Our clothes didn't even match. I was so confused and high stressed. It wasn't even funny. Because the entire time, James kept making fun of me because I was just gonna go alone at first.
Yeah.
And then Ruthana, I think her name was?
Yeah, it was Ruthana.
Yeah, she made fun of me because the suit looked too tight on me because it was my sophomore year.
Yeah,
So
I remember that.
costume that I was wearing. We got there, and I had this really big crush on this one girl, Taylor.
Yep, I remember Taylor. Yep.
Yeah, and I asked her to go to prom with me already, and she's like, "No, I already got a date." Levi Cox, and that was the first time I was ever upset at an autistic kid. Like, I'm not gonna lie. That was the first time in my life I was ever mad at an autistic kid. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "I hope you're not upset about it." I was like, "No, I'm not upset. I'm sorry you have to go with a guy that probably can't even hold his own pee." So I was pretty mad. But I took a second, and then I realized something. Wait a minute. This isn't an actual thing, right? So, and then I got chased by another autistic kid saying she loved me a lot. And I had Taylor. I just hung out with her the rest of the night, and I was like, "Dude, pretend like we're dating so she'll leave me alone." So Taylor's like, "Alright, bet, we'll just do this." So we pretend like we're dating, and then we leave prom, and then go to after prom. So we had gotten shirts. I packed an extra pair of jeans. And James is like, "Oh shit, we don't have anywhere to change." So I stepped out of the car. I just started stripping everything down. And James is like, "What are you doing? You're in the middle of a parking lot." I said, "So? If they're jealous of what they see, they're jealous of what they see. YOLO." I started stripping everything. And James is like, "Alright." Starts stripping. And then this woman walks by. And she goes, "I will call the cops on you if I see one more person change without getting in the car." And I was like, "Ha!" I just kept making fun of him for it the rest of the night. And before after prom, oh, you guys made me so mad. Because that whole game thing. That was just so annoying to me because he would not leave you guys alone, and then he kept bothering me, and then he went back after you.
Oh, we'll get to that story, don't worry.
You know what I did for him to get off you guys? I called him, and I said, hey, buddy, I'm sorry to tell you this. I know it's a lie, because I'm not that type of person, but I did it, and I don't regret it at all. I looked at him, and I said, buddy, listen, she used you, man. Get over it. He got so mad at me.
Now, we'll go into that story here in a bit. I'm gonna hide the name of the characters in play. Because slander!
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
That's fair.
That's okay.
And that's basically my problem.
Well,
how was your prom?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask this question. So, to get into the prom details, we first have to go a little bit further in time. Well, back in time. So, I don't know how to... I need to keep track of the characters' names that I use, so I'm gonna use my phone here in a second. So, we'll name the girl I liked... What's a good name for that?
I honestly do not know. Just put down K.
No.
I don't know. All I know, prom was very shitty for the both of us, so.
Alright, the one I really enjoyed, we're gonna call her... Cherry, why not? I have no idea.
Cherry?
Why not? Sounds like a stripper name, I don't care.
Does sound like a stripper name.
You know what? No, we're gonna do the one that caused problems. That is her name.
I don't remember which one did that.
It doesn't matter. We'll talk. I'll get on with the story here in a second. We're gonna list our cast of characters. You know what? We're just gonna talk about the one girl that I enjoyed, my girlfriend. The one that not at the time though. Well, not in this point in the story. And then the other guy we'll just call Gerald.
Ah. Gerald.
Gerald. Alright, so we got our cast. Anyway. On to the story. So, in this story, I want to take it to, it was after I had dated Shaniqua. Obviously I was in a slump because I just got over a relationship, stuff like that. So, this one girl hit me up out of the blue and said she was a friend with another friend that I had, talked to. And it's high school hormones and stuff, so flirting and stuff like that. So we're doing that as long as I meet my future girlfriend, which I really liked her, stuff like that. We had met previously. I met her back my freshman year, but other things. So obviously I really enjoyed having my future girlfriend, but I had to fight Gerald over her. So how that went out was I started flirting with my future girlfriend, and she had just gotten over her breakup at the time. If we ever let her onto the podcast, I'll let her talk about that's all that she wants to. She doesn't talk about anything. So anyway, Gerald was helping her get over that breakup. So he was being a really close friend to her, and our choir teacher was trying to get them together. Anyway, my future girlfriend had liked me for a really long time, since the moment she did meet. We did that. So, Fame, which is show choir competition, comes around. I ask her out. She says the best answer in the world. Sure. Not a definite yes, not a definite no, just sure, and I'm like, alright then. Anyway, we keep it a secret, not to hurt Gerald's feelings. Gerald, George, same person. Not to hurt Gerald's feelings. And after Fame, the original girl, Cherry, she was flirting with me, and I was like, alright, and then sending pornographic pictures. We are underage, and I do not condone this. If you are not 18 or older, do not send pictures of your embarrassing parts, your private parts, your genitalia. Don't be dumb. Anyway, I did that, and I was like, this is gonna be the last time I ever do it, since I have a girlfriend. So, did it, sent a picture to the wrong person, which was not her, it was a friend of
One of our best friends.
my girlfriend then at the time, one of our best friends. Let's just call her Ash. Sure. Sent it to Ash, which was a freshman at the time. So I tried to cover it up. I'm like, all that dumb stuff, which in hindsight is really not that dumb. Then prom rolls around. I go to prom with a different girl while George takes my girlfriend to the prom, which he did not know. And then at prom, everyone's trying to have a good time, but things are a little awkward. Her friends know that we're together, but he doesn't. And then me and him start fighting, and then I go ahead and tell him. And that just ruins our prom for everybody. And then I just try to cheer her up. And then at after prom, I had to hang out with another one of our friends. His name is Weston. I don't know if we'll have him on the podcast or anything like that. Anyway, I was hanging out with him, and then the original girl, Cherry, was texting me the entire time, and I was trying to keep that away from my girlfriend at the time, and trying to deal with that on my own time. Well, trying to deal with that while trying to hang out with friends like you and Weston, and George was getting buddy close with her, and we were all just trying to have a good night, which cost me and my girlfriend now a lot of terrible time. I won't go into details about it, but we had a really hard relationship, a really rocky relationship at the beginning, but we're in a better spot now, and we really do like each other, which I'm happy for. So anyway, past that, junior prom sucked. And don't want to go back to it.
Senior prom.
I worked at the job that I got my junior year, which I still work as a Domino's. I just work for Domino's. Which I made pizzas, and for this next prom, I was a delivery driver. I think I was a shift lead at the time, actually. Anyway,
no, not the senior prom.
Anyway, I didn't have a senior prom. How was your senior prom? I delivered pizzas to the senior prom. I just didn't go to it.
Yes, and you saw me there.
I did.
Senior prom, I went with Maya.
Yep, I remember Maya. She was a foreign exchange student.
From Mexico.
From Mexico, you are correct.
And actually, it was really nice. We went to a dinner at the fancy people place. That show choir, did like small Christmas concerts and performances. And then we came back to prom with Maddie Cohen and Chastity Samora. Which, oh, my bad. I did not mean to do that. Oh,
I'm not worried about it.
and came back to prom, and basically we just sat there, ate pizza, and just listened to music. And that's basically all we did.
Great prom,
And
great prom.
left that prom to go to prom, which is fake prom, which had Jamis, which is my friend's nickname, James. Maya and Michelle again. Who else was there? Noel Lunkenheimer. And a bunch of other friends were there. And it was at Noel's house. And I'm sitting at the table, and it's such a rich house. They lived right next to the country club on Country Club Drive. So they had nothing but fancy things.
I
It
know.
was all just fanciness, nothing but fancy. I felt so out of place, so musically. And then we went outside. So there was an experience in middle school that I had remembered. And James didn't want me to tell anybody. So in middle school, in the 8th grade, James and I had gotten detention, almost ISS, because James had these playing cards with naked women on them.
Yep, I remember those.
And Gavin Urquidez decided to tell on us. So James thought it was so embarrassing that he didn't want anybody at prom to know about it. So I decided, fuck it.
You
I'm
were
just
gonna bring it
tell
up, yep.
everybody. And James tried so hard to cover my mouth. He was just running after me the entire time. And then everybody, Sarah had caught up to us, and she was like, okay, so what is it about? So I told Sarah, and she goes, really, James? That's what you were worried about? Poor kid was worried about nothing. We danced, we had a little bit of fun, ate snacks, and then we left. And that was my prom/prom.
Well, let's see, is there anything else for us to talk about while we are here? Because it's about to be 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, it's already past 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else we really need to talk about?
I have more stories, but we can save those for a new one.
We can go ahead and do a couple more stories from both you and me. So, fuck it. What are some of your stories?
I want to talk about Dalton's really shitty wedding.
Oh, no, that's not what we should talk about. We should talk about your birthday party.
Oh,
You know which one I'm talking about, yep. So, actually, we never really went into detail about this. Me and Cody have been friends since 8th grade, so we know each other personally, and we also work together at this point in time of recording. So, yep, Dalton was a friend of ours, so I'll let you take it from there.
So I had invited Nick, who is next to me now.
I am not next to you.
Well, not next to me. Whatever. Talking with me now.
Yes, the other person here. Your co-host.
Yes. And Dominic and Dalton.
I don't
All
think,
to this
no, it
birthday
wasn't
party.
Dominic. I think it was Damien.
Dom was there.
Was it Dom?
Yeah, because Dom was the one
Oh yeah,
that
you're right.
he was
Yep.
spending the night the first time.
Yep, that's right. It was a
So-
really crappy first time. I remember. Alright, keep going.
Yeah. So Nick had wanted to show Dom the movie Not Another Teenage Movie.
Oh god,
And
it's a good
Dom
movie.
had never seen it before.
It's funny.
Dalton, he's like, Cody, I need to talk to you. So he pulls me up to the side, and he's like, hey, I want to talk to my girlfriend and tell her that I love her. I was like, so why do you need me to do that? And he goes, you just need to be there. So we leave the house for a couple seconds, meet his girlfriend, come back in, and then I had come back, and I found him drinking my mother's Malibu rum. So I was like, okay, he did it once, I'm gonna put it away, hide it, so he can't find it again. I put it in the medicine cabinet, and he found it again.
Yep, I remember that.
Drank the entire bottle.
It was, I think it was coconut rum.
Yep, it was the Malibu coconut rum.
Yep.
And he had gotten piss drunk, literally piss
Yep,
drunk.
I remember
laid down
that.
on my floor, peed all over my floor. I was pretty upset about it. I cleaned it up, and he started walking down the hill that was in our front yard. And he fell down the hill.
Yep, I remember that, because I had to carry him outside.
And I thought that he hit his head on the tire of my mom's truck. So I was like, okay, let's just bring him back up to the steps. So got up to the steps, and I kind of tilt his head to the side, and I stepped back, and just everything he had eaten poured. Okay, God, just pours out of his mouth, and I got so sick. I started throwing up, almost, and I couldn't do it. So I was like, Nick, you gotta handle this, buddy. I
Yep.
can't.
I can handle that kind of stuff because my parents are both in the medical field. So I grew up around that kind of hearing all those stories and dealing with all that stuff. Anyway, yep,
Yeah,
I remember that. Oh, God, I hated that.
I cannot deal with that stuff. And then called his grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
His grandmother came and picked it up, and we all threw him in the back of the bed of the truck, and they just drove off.
Yep, I remember that.
That was about it.
Well, why don't we talk about our first experiences with video games? What was your very first experience with the gaming genre?
I would say my very first experience with the gaming genre would have to be Crash Bandicoot.
Back on the PlayStation, I think 1? Or was PlayStation 2?
It was PS2.
Yep, I think my very first gaming station was also my very first gaming station was a PS2 that I got from my brother. Anyway, keep going.
I was playing it, and I had no idea how much of a rage-inducing game that was. I was like 7 at the time. And my mom was like, oh, dude, you gotta play this game. So she had me try it out. Tried it out. And there's these little apple things you have to collect in the game.
Yep, I know.
Collecting the apples. And I failed every single time because there's this one spot in the map where you have to walk very slowly. And for some reason, my dumbass didn't receive the idea of slowly. So I just ran down the path and I kept falling off. And I yelled, you know what? Fuck it. I threw the controller at the TV, ran into my room, started crying, and then I got grounded from video games.
I think with my experience with video games, how it started out was I was young. I know my very first gaming console was the PlayStation 2 that I got from my brother. How it went was, I remember he gave that to us because we really enjoyed it. I remember the games I played on it were the very first few games I had. I wasn't really into gaming at this point in time. I was playing a baseball game with my dad every now and then I would play, I think, Crash Bandicoot Team Racing, which, it was the one where you could mix and match the cars.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun. I didn't really get into games. Our parents got us a Wii one Christmas. I played some of that, didn't really care for it. I kind of got into Madden. Didn't really care. The very first moment, I think, I really got into video games, which more FPS, was Modern Warfare 2, because my older brother, the one that gave us the PlayStation 2, had convinced my mom that instead of blood coming out of the bodies, it was money. Which my mom finally gave in and let us play, which we were playing, and me and Matt were having fun, and it was our very first experience playing Call of Duty, and it was Modern Warfare 2. I don't think any moment will be as fun as the moment me and Matt were having. Yeah, we really loved that game, and we really enjoyed it, and it really holds a special place in my heart, since it was the first time I got to play a Call of Duty. I got to play with my older brother, as well as my twin brother Matt. So, that was that. And then, to further increase my love for Call of Duty and games like that, whenever I would go to one of my grandparents' house, my grandma had a PlayStation 3, which, my cousin, would load up Black Ops 1, and that's just my very first experience with Call of Duty Zombies. Since I was young, I was really freaking terrified. God. Oh, ever since then, I just loved FPS games. I've loved video games in general. And it's just where I fell in love with my love of first-person video games. How did you get into fighter games like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter?
My uncle, when I was very, as soon as I got ungrounded for video games, he introduced me to Street Fighter on the Nintendo 64.
Mm-hmm.
And, I thought it was so cool that the characters had certain abilities that you could use that could be pressed a bunch of buttons with. And I would just button mash, and I kept kicking my uncle's butt in the game. He said that I could be, he told me that if I tried hard enough, I could, join gaming competitions and stuff like that for fighting games.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. But I didn't join a gaming competition, I just got really, really good at fighting games. And then I got introduced to Mortal Kombat when I was 12. And I was like, oh, these controls are so much easier to learn. So, I spent, I'm not even lying when I say this, the only video game I've played for a month and a half was Mortal Kombat, the Complete Edition. So that's what I did.
I will never keep going. I don't want to interrupt you.
And I will never forget my love for Mortal Kombat or anything like that. That's just how I got to be so good at fighting games and got to be so good at making you hate fighting games.
I will not play fighting games with you. I'm sorry. It's just, I can't do it. I learned one combo and then, that's about it.
Alright, so, you'll never forget what now?
I will never forget my very first PlayStation 3 and then, buying Modern Warfare 3. It was, me and my brother Matt, we bought a PlayStation 3 that we co-owned, and us playing Modern Warfare 3 and with our nephew James, which you mentioned him earlier with your prom. James is our nephew, but he is also in the same grade as me and Cody, which is kind of weird, but I can explain it another day. So, me, Matt, and James would always just play games together, and I remember just having so much fun back in just us three, since we did not have the internet to play online, so we never got to experience the Modern Warfare 2 lobbies or the Modern Warfare 3 lobbies. Yeah, I will never forget those times of just playing against them and just having fun. So that's what really solidified my advance into Call of Duty. I never really got into Halo, since I never really had an Xbox to play Halo on. It was mainly just Call of Duty. The very first Xbox I have ever owned, I got last year in 2020, right before Christmas. So, no, it was right after Christmas, actually. So, no, it wasn't. It was right before Christmas. It was right after the PS5 came out, so it was right before Christmas. Anyway, I got an Xbox Series X. Hi, I love that thing to death. I used it to play games with Garrett and another one of our friends, Blake, and that's pretty much it.
Yu-Gi-Oh,
Yep.
by the way.
Who taught
the guy that taught it.
both Garrett and Blake taught me how to play Yu-Gi-Oh. I was technically Blake's freshman. He definitely taught me a lot of how to play Yu-Gi-Oh. Garrett would just whoop our asses. I have only officially beaten Garrett, well, back that year. I had beaten him once with a deck that he had built me, which was a Red Eyes deck.
And
So,
I've beaten Garrett twice so far,
yeah.
only twice.
Anyway, we can go into another episode about Yu-Gi-Oh! So, is there anything else we have to say before we wrap things up?
Not really, because if I do, we're gonna be here forever.
So, I would say we can keep talking till one of us hits 100, and then we end it when we hit 100. So,
speaking of
yep.
your Call of Duty, I hated Call of Duty. Like, I've always hated gun games. I was never good at them. Hated them.
Never really liked
Then-
FPSs.
Nope. And then I met you guys. You had offered to, you know, have me stay the night at your house for the very
Yeah.
first time. It was you, me, and Matt. And we went downstairs and we turned on the PS3 and then put it on Modern Warfare 2.
Yep, I remember that.
I have never played Modern Warfare 2 at this point in time, so I had no idea what the hell was going on. All I knew was that to move, you use the right joystick, to aim, use the left bump, trigger, and to shoot, use the right bumper. And that was battle. I went on, and I just remembered I died, and I got so frustrated. So, because I didn't know how to play the game. And I just was like, oh my god, what the fuck? And you and Matt were just laughing your asses off every time because I was getting so frustrated. And then James stepped into the scene, which made it 10 times harder for me. And then I was just raging the entire time. So I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to spend the night at Dalton's house and see how this goes. So I spent the night at Dalton's house one night, and I just kept playing campaign after campaign after campaign after campaign.
Just trying to get better. That way, whenever you'd spend the night at our house, you'd be like, what's up, shitweeds?
Pretty much, and the only reason why I spent the night at Dalton's house was only to play the video games. I didn't care about them.
That's also why whenever I spent the night at his house, was just so I could play his video games. Because he had better video games than we did.
Yeah, really. And then once I showed up, I finally had gotten my first kill on you. I was so proud of myself. I thought that was the best
So,
world to me.
you got into FPS games whenever you played it with me and my family and friends.
Because I couldn't really play it with anybody else.
Yeah, because you didn't have that. Because I had a brother to play it with, and I had a nephew to play it with whenever he was around. You never really had that other person that you could hang out with and play, since your parents didn't really like. Well, not a lot of your friends at the time would come over and hang out with you at your house, or your
really
parents probably
have a
didn't
lot
like
of
it.
friends
Yeah.
at the time. Mainly because my parents were so paranoid at the fact that I would probably either get murdered or worse, because they didn't know anybody here. We had just moved from Arizona.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
I didn't really have that other person to play games.
What current game are you? Games are you into right now? We'll wrap it up with
definitely.
that. Yeah, I like when we play Modern Warfare and we do 2v2 gunfights. Which, we never really talked about Parker in this, did we?
No, not really.
Yeah, we'll introduce Parker
really
if we ever have him on.
Yeah,
Which we can have him on another day.
Honestly, I'll let him speak on his own.
I'll let him, yeah, we'll let him talk about himself. So, you're into Modern Warfare right now? Any other games you're really big into?
Subnautica definitely right now.
Oh my god, don't get me started, dude. I just recently downloaded Subnautica so I can replay it. That way, whenever I save up money, I can buy the new Subnautica. I'm just gonna be, yep. And then what we can do actually with that is, what we can do with that is one day, whenever you want to hang out, we can record an episode of the podcast and we can just play Subnautica.
I mean, that'd be great.
I'd be down to do that with you. Any other games that you're really interested in right now?
As of this moment, I would probably say, like,
what are your top
game?
5 right now?
Top 5? Okay, Mortal Kombat 11, Modern Warfare, Injustice 2, Subnautica, Skyrim, and what's another game I think?
You've been watching Jack play Subnautica, haven't you?
I guess I have. And Fallout 4.
I would say my top 3 games right now would definitely be Call of Duty, Rainbow Six Siege, and Subnautica at this very moment. And then after that, probably would be, if I were to go off the Xbox, GTA would definitely be a big one. And I think that's about it. I don't think I have a 5th one. And that's all I've got for this episode. Anything else you want to say?
No, sir. I just want to say thank you to whoever watches this. That's about it.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of whatever you're doing. And it's the end of the podcast.
Bye.
I'll end it here in a Alright, well, I'll see you later. We can do it again tomorrow, or we can do it again another time. I'll end it. See you guys.